Today I'm going to demonstrate the CPU versus the GPU compute performance on a Trashcan Mac Pro. This happens to be the entry-level version equipped with a E5 Xeon, equipped with 4 cores running at 3.7 GHz and a pair of D300s with 2 GB of video RAM each. In the past I've had problems trying to demonstrate this machine from a GPU compute point of view, as earlier versions of Blender had issues with regards to rendering using these GPUs. However, Blender version 4.1 now enables you to leverage the GPU compute performance of both of these GPUs. In order to give you a graphical overview of the CPU as well as the GPU activity during the various tests that I'm going to run, I'm going to bring up the activity monitor. With the 8 CPU core traces on the left and the 2 GPU traces on the right. In order to adequately stress the CPU cores as well as the GPUs in this test, I'm going to make use of my Silicon Graphics O2 with the donut model, as it's a pretty complex scene. In the first test, I'm going to make use of the Cycles render engine using the CPU as the compute device. And the scene will be rendered at a resolution of 1080 by 1080. So the scene rendered in 5 minutes, 37 seconds and 28 split seconds. Taking a look at the CPU traces on the left, you can see that all 8 CPU threads were stressed to 100% and the GPUs weren't used at all. Just take note that the lower GPU is the one that drives the screen. Now I'm going to set it up to make use of GPU compute. And go into the system to show you the render device setup for Cycles. For the first GPU rendering test, I'm only going to be making use of one GPU, and it's the GPU that's not being used to drive the screen. Wow, that's a huge jump in performance. This time it rendered in 1 minute, 41 seconds and 69 split seconds. Taking a look at the GPU traces, you can see that only one GPU was used during the rendering process, and it's the one that's not being used to drive the screen. On the CPU side, you can see that there was a little bit of CPU activity towards the end of the rendering, and that was during the denoising process. I'm now going to enable both GPUs to see if it makes a difference. So both GPUs are now enabled for GPU compute. Well, it definitely made a bit of a difference, as this time it rendered in 58 seconds and 29 split seconds. So that's quite a bit of an improvement. Taking a look at the CPU traces, you can see that CPU was still used for denoising. And this time you can see that both GPUs were engaged, however the top trace indicates that one of them wasn't fully engaged. Hopefully this series of tests has shown you that it makes a lot of sense to make use of GPU compute on one of these trash cans rather than making use of the CPU in order to carry out your rendering, as it's significantly faster. In the next video I will test the D700s in my 12-core machine and see how they compare to the D300s that I've just tested. To finish things off here, I'm going to demonstrate the Heaven benchmark to you, and during this benchmark you will notice that the machine only makes use of one of its GPUs, so only a single GPU can be used to render 3D graphics to the screen. However, when using the GPUs in a GPU compute mode, you can leverage both GPUs. From the results, you can see that the average FPS was 47.6 frames a second, the score was 1200, the minimum FPS was 8.3 and the maximum 106.3. The system's equipped with a E5 CPU running at 3.7 GHz with 8 threads, and only a single D300 was used for the rendering with 2 GB of video memory. The renderer used was OpenGL over DirectX, and this probably accounts for the choppiness that you saw in the performance, as far as I know, this benchmark is more orientated towards DirectX. Hopefully I've been able to properly demonstrate this machine's GPU performance to you, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks very much for watching.